Greetings, metalheads, and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George, and I'm back with another collection update. I've got a little assortment of new LPs, new vinyl, which I picked up recently, yet more additions to the collection, all of which, all albums, great albums, they come from the legacy bands. We've got some great releases from across the years, some new, some old, all more recent reissues or issues, but they are very much from those legendary legacy bands, the bands that, you know, they blazed the trails. They were the pathfinders, they were the ones that carried the torch and really inspired generation after generation of musician and metalhead alike. So we're going to kick off with I guess this kind of links in with one of my more recent collection updates. It's been an ongoing quest of mine to pick up and complete the studio albums. Well, actually, it's extended beyond just the studio albums. I've also now got quite a lot of the live albums from this mighty vanguard on vinyl as well. We are, of course, talking about Iron Maiden, the freaking metal band, let's face it, one of the biggest, one of the best bands in metal, regardless. They are the gods of the new wave of British heavy metal. Obviously, they rapidly grew exponentially in fame. They've gone on to do some amazing things over the years. They've changed a little bit here and there. I would still regard the mighty Saxon, have to get that in there, as being the kings of the new wave of British heavy metal. But then if we're talking about pure status, Iron Maiden recently picked up the self-titled album, the 1980 debut on vinyl. This is from the same reissue series, 2015 reissues, Parlophone Records. These are really nice. They've got that kind of glossy sleeve. And in that recent collection update where I was showing off Fear of the Dark, along with Matter of Life and Death and Book of Souls, I have been steadily piecing the Iron Maiden puzzle together. And you know what? These reissues, I know some people feel a bit funny about reissues. You know, they just want to have the originals. That's fair enough. Totally understand that. Totally respect that. But these reissues are heavy duty. Just black vinyl. Nothing complicated. Not printed inners or anything like that. But they're just really nice. And this was dirt cheap. I've got it up, picked it up, brand new and sealed for £15. In fact, I think it was less than that. I think it was 14. And I'm glad I did. Probably quite a surprise to some Maiden fans and metalheads that I hadn't got a vinyl copy of the debut already. That is just purely because I wouldn't pay above the odds. I've made it my mission over the years to really build this collection by finding the best deal. You don't build a collection like this and beyond all around here by paying above the odds or full price. That's just common sense, right? You always want to get a good deal. So finally, found a great deal on the debut, and I haven't listened to this it's probably not that long, to be fair. I used to listen to this album a lot. This used to be one Maiden album that I used to come back to very frequently. It would be maybe couple of weekly basis. I did listen to this album not that long ago. It was shortly after the announcement of late Paul Di'Anno's death. And I think I listened to this album and Killers, of course, the second album, as a bit of a tribute. So that's not quite accurate. I have listened to it fairly recently, probably heavily lubricated, but it's a great album. I used to come back to this a lot because I freaking loved certain tracks, but I love the raw new wave of British heavy metal sound and raw energy here. I regard this album as pretty much being I say the first. It certainly was 1980, so it's right there, right time, right place, as being one of the most important albums of the new wave of British heavy metal. This and Killers, of course, absolutely set the standard, set the bar. not to discredit anything that we've got from the same year, from the likes of Diamond Head, Tigers of Pan, Tang, Def Leppard, of course the mighty Saxon, and the list goes on. You know, we can't forget about all those other bands. Angel Witch, for example, Witchfind, so many bands. The new wave of British heavy metal, it was a big scene. Anyway, this album is freaking great. Prowler is a track I've always absolutely loved. Remember Tomorrow is an epic. We've got the anthemic Running Free. Phantom of the Opera is a marvel. I love that track, always have. Of course, Charlotte the Harlot, classic, essential. Can't forget Transylvania as well, of course. But title track Iron Maiden as well. It's been a regular live cut for many, many moons. You know what? This is a great album. I love it. I do love the fact that it is just raw, pure new wave of British heavy metal. I know that Steve Harris, the great man himself, is not a big fan of punk. And I think that's also something that I love about this album, is that it, to me anyway, aside from Paul Di'Anno's vocals, which are very much, I think he's got a punk thing going on there, it's pretty much just pure metal. There isn't really any punk in there, to my ears, to my humble ears. You may disagree, and no disrespect to punk, it's just not quite my cup of tea. Great lineup, of course, this classic lineup. Clive Burr on drums, the late Clive, alongside the guitar duo then of Dennis Stratton and the great Dave Murray. Absolutely love Dave, such a personality, alongside Steve and Paul. Great album, freaking love it. It's where it all began, and it's a classic, and a lovely, lovely reissue there. Up next, we have another Maiden album, so I've very nearly pieced the puzzle together now. But this one was actually it was an anniversary present from my wife, and a great surprise because it's a little bit pricier to source, but it is one of, I'm not going to say it is my favourite Maiden album, but it is one of my favourite albums. Brave New World from 2000. This is the album that had the full band and more back together again. We had Bruce Dickinson back in the fold. We also had, of course, Adrian Smith back in the band as well. Still Yannick Gears, alongside Dave Murray, alongside Steve Harris, alongside Nico. This is a marvel. This album is incredible, and it was actually the first album that I heard of the post Bruce Dickinson reunion. Obviously, it was much later. I can't think how old I would have been when I heard this. I think probably about 14, maybe 15 at the latest. And it just blew my mind. It blew my mind. It's the musicianship. It's the amazing production, of course, courtesy of Kevin Shirley. Wow. This album just blows my freaking mind, and I still love it so much to this day. Never been a big fan of the cover, but I think it's cool. It's just very dated, 2000. That looks like a cover from 2000, doesn't it? But with tracks like The Wicker Man, and I'm pretty sure I can distinctly remember when I first heard this album for the first time. I was actually out on a walk, and it was a sunny day through the woods, and okay, listen to this new album on my old Sony Walkman. That I was lent a copy of this on CD. That opening riff to The Wicker Man. That was it. I was hooked. I was addicted from that point on. Ghost of the Navigator is one of my favourite Maiden songs. It's also one of my favourite songs of all time, as is the title track. I just love it. Bruce sounds incredible here. The whole band is just electric. Electric is the word. I freaking love it. Blood Brothers, that folky anthem, brilliant one. The Mercenary, love it. It's a heavy track. Dream of Mirrors. To be honest, there isn't a bad track on the album. I even enjoy a lot. I love, in fact, those two kind of epic, more mid-paced tracks. Out of the Silent Planet. That's not really a mid-paced one. It's just a bit more of an upbeat, kind of jovial sound to it. And then the thin line between love and hate. And Bruce's vocals and that kind of like slowed down, melodic part. We had that amazing guitar noodling going on, and then Bruce's vocals. Wow, it actually gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Like genuinely thinking about it, not even listening to it. I freaking love this album. It means a lot to me. It's been with me for a long time, or I with it, or whatever. Freaking love it. So it's double black vinyl. Again, same reissue series, and I will say Parlophone done a sterling job on these because they're really nice, high quality packages, high quality vinyl. Love it. Love it. Brave New World, Iron Maiden. Can't wait for June. That is already getting me very excited. I know they won't be playing anything from Brave New World. It's just going to be the first 9 albums, but I am psyched for that. And I've also now only got a few pieces of the Maiden puzzle left to fill in. So I shamefully don't have a copy, very shamefully, don't have a copy of Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Don't have a copy of No Prayer for the Dying, and I don't have the 2 Blaze Bailey albums, but I'll get there. I will. Okay, so Maiden, a lot of love for Maiden there. Up next, we've got another legacy band. We've got a more recent album from the band, I suppose, released in 2013. I think this is like the 21st album from the band. The mighty Mötorhead with Aftershock. Now, this album, I love it. I love this album, absolutely. I remember at the time being totally blown away by it because one of the first Motorhead albums that I really clicked with and really loved was actually the album before this, The World Is Yours. Incredible album, and the momentum has definitely kept up with Aftershock. I did see them on this very tour at the Birmingham, what is now the Utilita Arena, I believe. I remember it was an arena one. It was one of the last tours that Motorhead did. And I love this album. I really do. I forgot just how great it is. Heartbreaker. They've obviously got that very bluesy Lost Woman Blues, which is an interesting track. Interesting hearing Lemmy do like cleaner vocals, or like more bluesy vocals, I should say. End of Time's a great one. Death Machine. Going to Mexico, Silence When You Speak to Me, Knife, Keep Your Powder Dry. This is a great album. It's just classic Motorhead. You know, nothing complicated. There's nothing insanely out of the ordinary here. You know, you're not getting any electro pop or anything like that. Got a nice printed inner for this one with lyrics on, and if I can carefully extract the vinyl, just a black vinyl, but cool stickers. The War Pig in glory. In sand, in fact. Solid album. You know, sadly missed, I will say. You know, obviously the only releases we're getting from Motorhead now are the millions and millions of reissues that are coming out. I've pretty much given up trying to keep up with all the different versions. The 30th anniversary of this, the 50th anniversary of that, the 45th anniversary of Bomber. Next is going to be like the 46th or whatever. It's gotten a little bit much in my opinion. But classics like this, modern classics like this, I revisit them as often as I can and I freaking love them. Albums like this, also Bad Magic, the last album, absolutely amazing. Motorizer, Kiss of Death, Inferno, that is a beast. But this album's a great one. I picked this up it was actually on Amazon. Shame on me. But it was, I think it was about £14. Why not? I got it on CD, but why not? Hey, lovely thing. A great album. Definitely one to pick up if you like rockin' rollin' heavy metal. So now we've got another legacy band, of course, and another band that, without this band, certainly there would be a lot less rockin' rollin' fun in heavy music, but also there'd be, I don't know, the world would just not be as good a place. I don't know what my point was originally meant to be there, but we've got a lot to thank AC/DC for. Of course, this legendary Australian rock and roll titan that has been so influential, and it's actually a bit of an anomaly when you think about it. There's certain rock bands or rockin' bands that they just kind of sit quite nicely in the metal camp. They might not be metal bands, but bands like, for example, AC/DC or even Motorhead, I'd still regard their material as being pretty heavy metal. Um, Thin Lizzy, certain bands that are rock bands, but they sit quite comfortably in the metal world or the heavy music world. And AC/DC is a band that I love. I think for a long time, maybe as a younger man, kind of struggled with just how much I do love this band, because it's almost like there's a bit of a stigma because they are these rock titans, because they are such a mega status band, just like Maiden even, or Metallica. There's almost like a bit of a prejudice about it. Like, we have to like the really obscure bands, the little bands. Can't be listening to that mainstream, that's the term, mainstream band. Really? Why not? Regardless, don't care about that. I freaking love AC/DC. They're a great band, great fun. They're just a rocking band. Fantastic musicians. Great all round. Brilliant stuff. This album, 1985. I believe this was the 10th album. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Fly on the Wall. Never been a big fan of that album cover, I must admit, but it's entertaining enough. This is a bit of an underrated gem, and I overlooked this album for a very long time. I must admit, I didn't hold this album in as high a regard as I do now. It's actually massively grown on me with time. Just like Blow Up Your Video or Flicker the Switch, two albums I've talked about, well, I say recently, within the life of this channel. I've talked about them as being massively underrated albums, and I still feel that they are. But also, I would say that Fly on the Wall, which followed up Flicker the Switch, is definitely an underrated album. It's got some cracking tracks on here. I love the opening title track. Shake Your Foundations is a rocking beast. First Blood is a great one. Sink the Pink is a catchy rocking number. Playing with Girls is a great number. Hell or High Water, Back in Business, Send for the Man. This is another album that was produced by the Young brothers, Angus and Malcolm, and I feel that difference in the production there, that difference in the sound from the massive sounding Mutt Lange produced albums, maybe that's what didn't quite connect with some fans. Regardless, this is a more recent reissue. In fact, it was released, 2003. Not even that recently, to be fair, but they are really nice. We've got these lovely printed inners with this series. So I've got quite a few of these albums now. Recently picked up Back in Black, and that's a really nice high quality one as well. I've got a few now, and I'm planning on getting a few more, definitely. Just black vinyl, but it's heavy duty, high quality stuff. Looks the part. Absolutely love it. This is a cracking album. Absolutely cracking album. And I would say if you love AC/DC, maybe you've just been drawn to those bigger albums, Back in Black, for those about to rock, put in a little bit of time, a little bit of homework, and check out albums like Fly on the Wall, check out Flicker the Switch, Blow Up Your Video. These are really good albums. These are solid rocking albums. Angus and his brother Malcolm, that guitar duo is one of the best guitar duos that has ever been. Cliff Williams, his bass work is great, love it. You got Simon Wright on drums with this album, and of course Brian Johnson, the enigmatic flat cap wearing frontman, doing what he does best. Love it. Absolutely fantastic. AC/DC, Fly on the Wall. And then last article for this update, another recent addition, an album that has massively grown on me again over the years, one that I didn't overlook but didn't quite appreciate just how good it is actually. 2008's Black Ice. I think this was like the 15th album by this point. It was 2008, wasn't it? I can't even see. Yeah, 2008. This is, to my knowledge, it's the only double album from the mighty AC/DC. It was produced by Brendan O'Brien, And yeah, this is a great album. It's quite a long one. It's sort of getting on towards the hour mark, which is, you know, it's different for AC/DC. It's this nice kind of glossy black, quite hard to show off gatefold, printed inners, just black vinyl. But I love this album actually. I think it's got some great tracks. Of course, they did the live album, live at River Plate, from the tour, Black Ice tour. So some of those tracks got a lot of play. Rock and Roll Train, Blackjack, War Machine, all of those are Stonewall classic AC/DC tracks. Sound fantastic. But there's some other brilliant tracks here. Skies on Fire, Smash and Grab, Wheels, She Liked Rock and Roll, Money Made is a brilliant one, Rock All the Way, Black Ice. You know what? This is just classic AC/DC. And the whole thing sounds great. So well produced. It's a rocking number. Absolutely brilliant. I would say that, to be fair, albums like Black Ice, even before that, Stiff Upper Lip and so on and so forth, but Black Ice, Rock or Bust, Power Up, they have been of such high quality. I've loved all of those albums. I think they're brilliant. Absolutely perfect, anthemic, easily palatable rock and roll. Brilliant stuff. But what I particularly love about this album is the fact that it's quite a grand sounding album. You know, it's not quite as rough and ready as the earlier albums, even Fly on the Wall. But it's kind of got a bit of a grand, almost like a bold statement. Like, this is what we do. We rock and roll, and we rock and roll well. Freaking love it. A great album and a nice article to have. Got the CD, but it's a beat up secondhand version that I've had for years. So actually, I'm putting in the money there, and I'm making the effort and getting it nice double vinyl format. So there we have it. Just to recap this short collection update. It probably doesn't really need a recap, but just to show off again, we've got the 1980 debut self-titled album from Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden, absolute benchmark. Then we've got the excellent, epic, superb Brave New World from 2000. Nice gatefold vinyl here. Lovely piece. Then we've got the rockin', heavy metalin', whatever. Not going to have that debate. Aftershock. Mötorhead, The Legends. Freaking great album. Then we've got the brilliant but underrated Fly on the Wall, AC/DC, 1985. And 2008's Black Ice. Stellar stuff. Absolutely love it. Great stuff. So, my friends, thank you very much for watching this humble collection update. Hope you've enjoyed it. What are your thoughts on these mighty legacy bands? AC/DC, Mötorhead, Iron Maiden. I'm sure we've all got something to say. What are your thoughts on these albums? Got an interesting mix of more popular and more obscure releases. So, interested to hear thoughts and opinions of others as always. Thanks again. Please do feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. The support is very much appreciated. Do check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all the good heavy things. Until next time, take care of yourselves and stay frickin' heavy.